Hello, my heroes or hero risings, and welcome to Astro Extra, Uranus and Aries. This is a powerful new series we're doing to talk about the transformative electric energies of Uranus in Aries. Now, make sure you watch the introduction video because they get kind of deep on the big, broad sweep spectrum of what this means. On a personal level, Uranus in Aries is going to be an amazing transformative time for the heroes of the Zodiac. This is, thank God, it's only 7 years long. If it was Pluto, it would be a very long, drawn-out lesson. It's quick in astrological terms as far as I'm concerned. And what it means is it's time to take the Arieses to the next level. But before we talk about Uranus and Aries, let's review Uranus and Pisces, so you can have a retroactive kind of example of the transformation you're going to be going through. Uranus is the innovation vibration. It breaks us down, which forces us to break through. It's kind of like going to the gym and getting big muscles. Uranus will break it down, your muscles will be sore, your life will be kind of and then suddenly you will be stronger where you were once weak because you will have to you'll have to endure or overachieve to get there. So Uranus really does make us kind of work out when it comes to our spiritual growth. Now, Uranus was in Pisces roughly between 2003 and 2010. For the Aries, this was an innovation of your spiritual connection to your higher self. Basically, Aries has had to connect to their spiritual side. They faced their karma. You had to face certain weeds that were holding you back. You had to face self-sabotaging behaviors. You had to face any type of substance abuse issues. Basically, anything that was preventing you from having faith in yourself, which us spiritual people translate to faith in the universe, because you are the universe, you are God, so you can be an atheist and still get this lesson. Basically, anything in the way of you having faith in yourself must have been addressed. And because it was in an esoteric kind of position, you might have been thrown in all sorts of conflict in your life that forced you to have faith, where maybe perhaps your son or daughter was in the hospital for a particular surgery, and it maybe had bad chances of survival. Where do you do in a situation like that? You just have to have faith. Or if you're trapped on a desert island and you don't know if you'll be rescued, you just have to have faith. Basically, there are things in life, no matter how spiritual or non-spiritual we are, that bring us to our knees and make us learn how to have faith, which is connecting to our higher self, connecting to our oneness with the universe, and having a stock in that, being able to rely on that sensibility, on that connection to get through these earthly challenges. So, in the last 7 years, Aries, have you learned to have faith? If not in the universe, in yourself? Well, now that Uranus is in Aries, it's time to take that faith and now innovate your ego. Now, ego is what Arieses do best. Arieses are the most self-centered, self-absorbed signs in the zodiac, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to think about yourself. And everyone on the planet needs to think about themselves. In fact, if everyone would just think about themselves, we would not need heroes. We would not need people that have to go above and beyond to give and be generous and all these things if people just took care of themselves. Ego is indeed a necessary state of awareness for survival on Earth. The only time it goes wrong is when people live only in ego and when their ego has no spiritual principles backed up behind it. But that's where it comes into your story right now. You just spent 7 years building your spiritual principles. So now, naturally, it's time to build your ego. So here in 2011 and in most of 2012, you will experience ego breakdown. Ego breakdown. So where your ego is built on false principles or on a false premise, you can pretty much expect Uranus to knock that house of cards down. Guaranteed. So if you are falsely confident at work, or you are got someone under your manipulation in a relationship where they think you're just God's gift to mankind, but really you're not, you're just putting up a front. Any area where you're putting up a false front and it's not backed by spiritual integrity is going to collapse. Guaranteed. And it will collapse most likely by March 2012, once Uranus hits that 4th degree or the stock market crash degree, as I was talking about in the introduction. So up until that time, false ego will collapse. This is also any type of false ego-related behavior. So for instance, if you're a type of person that when someone insults you, you make a joke, you don't directly oppose the person that insulted you, but rather you just kind of slide it off and joke, That's not really an ego principle of integrity. That will probably stop working as well. You'll say a joke, and then that might escalate. They'll get even more angry. Like, how can you joke at a time like this? You're going to find that any false ego reactions, is what I'm saying, will stop working or will blow up in your face as well. This is the first chapter 1 of Uranus and Aries. And also, wherever you are falsely strong, or you're kidding yourself, or in super denial about your ego. Oh, I'm super strong. I can handle that. Ooh, be careful about saying stuff like that if you can't handle it. Because I think Uranus and Aries will say, okay, let's just go ahead and throw that bowling ball in that direction and see if you do handle it. Now, I'm not trying to scare you, because in truth, everywhere Uranus and Aries is going to hit your ego was false ego. It was false strength. It was you pretending. It was you being a con artist. And frankly, the universe wants that to collapse. So like the stock market collapsing based on all virtual value, anything that you have built out of virtual value will likely collapse in the next year and a half into 2012. Now from that point, though, there is breakthrough. One thing about Uranus is, as soon as you slip on the banana peel, you fall down, and the first thing you see is the banana peel. Uranus always reveals why it broke down. And that's the breakthrough. The breakthrough is the understanding, the synapse, the innovation of your consciousness to go, oh, I see now. And really, great things for Uranus, or great thanks to Uranus, once you see, it's kind of hard to repeat it again, because it's such a hard slap in the face of truth at really sometimes the worst time. So after the breakdown and collapse of your false ego, your false presentations, or your lies to yourself, you will begin to have breakthrough, understanding of where to go. And at this point, from 2013 on, Uranus and Aries is going to be mostly constructive. Yes, things will fall apart, but it won't be the big things. By then, you will have been humbled enough to the truth. And at that point, the innovative vibration will be helping you to innovate your ego. It's going to flip to a total positive. So if you want to be the strongest, or the best, or the first, or the most well-known, any superlative, which is what Aries is about, the most, the best, etc., Uranus will be there helping you innovate. So if you want to make a toaster, or you want to make a vacuum cleaner, you're going to find that you not only make one, but you have the resources to make the best one, to innovate it, to change it, etc. And overall, we're talking about not vacuum cleaners, but your character in the world. The way you respond, the way you interact, the way you move forward, you're going to become very innovative. And I think that by the time this transit is over, okay, in 7 years from now, Aries will be very dynamic people, much more sophisticated and dynamic than we have been seeing in the last 86 years, because this is the first upgrade you've had since 1927. So I think, for instance, like Rosie O'Donnell, who is a famous Aries, who gets hot-headed on the collar and starts fights with people on The View, that sort of energy, I think you're going to see those Aries become a lot more political, a lot more savvy, and a lot more swift with their conflict making. You're going to see an innovative and expanded Aries. All right, that wraps up Uranus and Aries for the Aries. Make sure you click on your rising sign, and I'll see you for the next Astro Extra.
So garden